I don't know who I am. That is a statement that could describe our social media climate. When I was a kid, I found myself pretty. I was proud of my long wavy hair and my green eyes that had the smallest gold reflections in them. Most young girls probably feel the same. But it's 2025, enter social media. Now, according to Dr. Jasmine Fruity, only a minute and a half of total exposure to social media is enough to have long-lasting harmful impacts, with girls as young as 6 reporting unhappiness with their bodies, desires to look thinner, and even dieting to lose weight. When I was a kid, I really wanted Instagram. At 13, I was in an environment where every other child around me had a social platform. I couldn't possibly envision an app to be dangerous. To me, social media seemed like the perfect creative outlet to share my art on. How would I know of the series of unfortunate events that social media would launch in my life? How was I to know that by the age of 14, I no longer saw myself with the same love and would become one of social media's victims? I, like many members of Gen Z and Gen Alpha, am having an identity crisis, a fact that companies capitalize on. According to the global issue, the beauty industry spends about $20 billion per year on over 25,000 ads targeting teenagers. I was a victim of those ads and had to construct a strong sense of identity after everything I thought about myself was slowly torn down by social media. This took time, work, and wasn't something I did on my own, rediscovering myself. I had help from family and my therapist. What my therapist helped me do was reform these standards of what I now considered beautiful and dismantle what society had ingrained so deeply in me about them. I, like most of the teenagers, wanted to fit in and keep up with the trends, such as wearing the latest popular brand or aesthetic. Not only those I saw in my school, but more importantly, those I saw online, even if they didn't fit my personal taste or my body type. When you are constantly trying to keep up with the trends, you get stuck in this game of catch-up because there is no longer one stable beauty trend to follow. From year to year, even months to months, the ideal of what is considered beautiful differs drastically. In 2014, for instance, the ideal was to have a big chest, a big butt, and a heavy, full face of makeup. 10 years later, the ideal is to be thin, have natural-looking injections, and a clean, natural makeup look. And those are only 2 of the several that have existed. Hence, if you can't constantly undergo surgery to fit the standard or mold your body to keep up with the trend, you're forced to become socially ugly. As behavioral psychologist Caroline Mayer says, we follow trends because we want to belong. The issue is, we can't follow these trends, at least not every latest one. Consequently, we can't belong in an age where belonging is crucial. Social media now offers a variety of different filters that users can apply to change their face, such as making their skin paler, changing their face shape, making their eyes wider, the list goes on. When I finally received Instagram, I excitedly scrolled through all of the different options. As I started to apply them on my face, however, I noticed something strange. These filters, which had nothing to do with my skin, seemed as if the airbrush filter in Photoshop had been used on my photos. I didn't mind. I mean, it felt harmless, truly. What I didn't realize was that these idealized images of myself, according to social media standards, were starting to take a more prominent position in how I viewed my own beauty. Now, people can change their face and their body, not through cosmetic surgery, but through these apps. I would see these women on TikTok and compare their physical attributes to mine. I didn't know they had a filter on. To this day, I can watch the same videos and not initially realize that these women have a filter on because of how developed the technology has become. By doing so, It's presenting an illusion of what beauty is, which, in reality, is unattainable. Before I continue, I just want to outline that the main victims targeted by social media are indeed women. Now, young girls and women are being led to believe that their beauty is worthless if they do not fit these modular standards through appearance ideal content, short-form media videos that portray such an unattainable standard. Because of this content, there has been a rise in cosmetic surgeries, with adolescents using filters being more likely to consider it. According to the American Society of Plastic Surgeons, in 2020, 4% of all cosmetic surgeries were performed on teenagers now aging from 13 to 19 years old. Now, in some cases, getting Botox is as common for teenagers as going to the movies. I, at 14 years old, wanted a nose job because my nose wasn't curved like the celebrities I saw online, and thus wasn't pretty, according to the world. I didn't, and still probably don't, comply with the face card system, in which one's facial beauty, if pretty enough, can be used like an unlimited credit card, the true peak of modern beauty. The thing is, I didn't know the world's opinion. I knew social media's opinion, and that's, respectfully, not the world. Our society sounds hopeless, doesn't it? We are a generation without an identity, with social media telling us how to look in order to be considered pretty or valuable. This is where we come in. These are the times we need to take action. The question is, how can we? Before I continue, I would like you to close your eyes for a minute. Picture how you would ideally like to look. Imagine you've got a big magic eraser. I want you to slowly and carefully erase that idealized image of yourself. Now take a breath and open your eyes. That magic eraser is what we need to reclaim social media and the power it exercises over our self-perception. We need to produce content that challenges such standards, content that portrays what true humanity, true natural human beauty is, without the use of filters or bodily modifying tools. By doing so, the younger generation will love themselves and value themselves from an earlier age, as they're no longer faced with this type of content constantly. Helping the younger generations have a critical eye when viewing these idealized images would permit them to foster a more inclusive perspective of what beauty actually is. For the older members of Gen Z and Gen Alpha, we should try and limit our screen time so we have less chance of encountering such videos and photos. Instead, we should go to the museum with friends to see art that's considered beautiful and compare it to the idealized standards being propagated through these apps. Through initiatives in the classrooms with teachers and therapists, we should let children explore their identity and develop their interests. This will permit them to foster and create self-compassion from an earlier age. There should also be interventions in the classroom and outside of the classroom to talk about the deep, harmful impacts, not mentioned enough, that these apps inflict. When we finally learn to develop an identity away from social media's influence, only then will we truly be ourselves and not constantly try to keep up with the trends in order to feel like we belong. In doing so, this will help in improving our mental health, as we will no longer be changing our core values to fit into a mold. On a governmental level, countries are focused on pushing back the legal age limit to obtain social media in order to protect our youth. In Australia, for instance, minors under 16 years old can no longer legally obtain social media and social platforms. In France, a law regulating influencers, especially regarding labeling filtered content and banning the promotion of cosmetic surgery, is being finalized. The US is working on a law to ban the promotion of cosmetic surgery ads to viewers under 18 years old. Explore who they People should have a safe space online and in real life to explore who they are and who they wish to be. I had the opportunity to re-meet myself and see what, as an individual, makes me valuable. That is all I can hope for those whose self-perception has been distorted by social media. That is all I can hope for the future generations. I can now look at myself in the mirror and not get overwhelmed by every single one of my little imperfections. I can like my lips, like my eyes, like my nose. I find myself pretty. I find each and every one of us pretty, just the way we are. Thank you.